For our triangle, we used 8 wedge strategies to help the best way for global solutions. Our first strategy is forest storage. Trees and plants are important players in efforts to avoid global warming. They store carbon as they absorb carbon dioxide during growth. They soak up the carbon that would otherwise rise up and trap heat in the atmosphere. Next, we use soil storage. Increasing the amount of carbon naturally stored in soils could provide this short-term bridge to reduce the impact of increasing carbon emissions until low carbon and sustainable technologies can be implemented. We also did fuel switching electricity, because natural gas only emits half as much carbon dioxide as do coal-burning plants.
Efficiency building. We chose this one because we have decided to cut emissions. We believe the best way to cut emissions by at least 25% would be to use a distilled water and sunlight system. To create energy, the only way to do this would be to get solar panels on the roof and collect this and store sunlight. Then you need a large tank that can hold the distilled water. The reason we chose this distilled water is because it has already been cycled through a process and has gotten rid of all unnecessary things. This should be able to cut emissions and get rid of the bad things we breathe in. Okay, go. Next, we have conservation transport. We chose this one because if you think about it, the public transportation, such as buses and trains, only have a certain amount of stops, causing these stops to be jammed up and lengthy. And many people are impatient and do not want to wait in the line. Therefore, they choose to drive their own car. However, we believe in order to solve this issue, we need to make more stops. Therefore, there's not 1,000 people at one stop. And it might take more time, but it would be more efficient. And in order to cut the miles traveled by a certain vehicle, there could be more stations closer together, such as the furthest one bus can drive is 10 miles at a time. Go.
The first one we have is wind electricity, which would be a great substitute for fossil fuels, as the windmills are cheap and we would never run out of wind. Next is biofuels, which help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and reduce the effect of global warming. With the first production of this fuel, the carbon emission reduction will be in the range of 20 to 40%. The last is solar energy, which has a better impact than coal power, as it does not require much land and could be put on top of buildings. This could even put them in undesirable places like the desert, as it gets lots of sunlight.